Hi students, in the chapter of photosynthesis, you will learn about light-driven reactions and light-independent reactions. To understand very well about the light-dependent and light-independent reaction, you have to know where does photosynthesis take place. So I am going to explain answer for this question. Before that, take a note of this question. That is, where does photosynthesis take place? So answer for this question is photosynthesis take place in chloroplast present in the green part of the leaf. So where photosynthesis take place means photosynthesis take place in chloroplast. So where this chloroplast is present is in green leaf. But it does so also present in the young stem as well as the fruit parts of the plant. The chloroplast can also be found in the young stem and fruits. When the fruit is unripened, it will be in green color. Definitely it will show the presence of chloroplast. Young stem, which are very weak in nature and green in color, they also show the presence of chloroplast. So this is the beautiful representation that where does photosynthesis take place. Now next question is, where there is a large number of chloroplast present in the leaf. So we know that chloroplast is present in leaf, young stem and fruits. Now the question is, where there is a large number of chloroplast. So answer for this question is mesophyll cells. Mesophyll cells will have large number of chloroplast. So what is this mesophyll cells in leaf if you ask? Meso means middle. Meso means what? Middle. Fill means leaf. So when you cut the leaf, so if you take the leaf and if you cut the leaf into a small slice, you can observe the inner part of the leaf under compound microscope. The outermost layer is known as the epidermis. Outermost layer is known as what? Epidermis. The leaf will have upper epidermis as well as lower epidermis. Upper epidermis as well as the lower epidermis. So whichever the cells present in between upper and lower epidermis are known as the mesophyll cells. So whichever the cells which are present in between the upper and lower epidermis are known as the mesophyll cells. So usually chloroplasts are aligned themselves along the walls of the mesophyll cells. So usually chloroplasts themselves align along the walls of the mesophyll cells. So that they can absorb optimum quantity of incident light. So what is the purpose of arrangement of this chloroplast in the mesophyll cells means they can absorb optimum quantity of light. So when light falls on the leaf, it has to be absorbed. So how it can absorb means when they align themselves along the walls of the mesophyll cells. So there is the scientists have observed two different pattern of arrangement of chloroplast. So if there is high intensity of light, definitely chloroplast will tend to avoid that high intensity of light. How it can avoid that high intensity of light means themselves arranging perpendicular to the incident of light. Chloroplast can arrange perpendicular to the incident of light. If light is falling from upward direction, so this chloroplasts have arranged in a perpendicular pattern. Okay, perpendicularly they have arranged so that they can reduce the impact of sunlight. If there is low intensity of light, suppose we have the low intensity of light. So at this moment, the chloroplast will align like a flat surfaces. They arrange like a flat surfaces, and they will be parallel to the walls of the mesophyll cells. They will be parallel to the walls of the mesophyll cells. When this condition we can observe means when there is a low intensity of light, when there is high intensity of light, it will be arranged perpendicular to the light intensity. So these are the two different pattern of arrangement of chloroplast inside the mesophyll cells. So don't forget that mesophyll cells will have the large number of chloroplasts, and these chloroplasts are arranged in perpendicular when there is high intensity of light, like a parallel flat surfaces parallel to the cell wall when there is low intensity of light. Okay. Now we will zoom on to the chloroplast cell organ. So you have studied about the chloroplast in the chapter 8, that is cell the unit of life. So this is most important diagram. Chloroplast is most important diagram. So to understand how the light reaction and a dark reaction take place in the chloroplast, we have to look at the structure of chloroplast. Okay, I am going to show you the diagrammatic representation of chloroplast. So chloroplast is single membrane or double membrane cell organ? Yes, we know it is double membrane cell organ, and it is also known as semi-autonomous cell organ. Why we call it as semi-autonomous means they have their own genetic material and ribosomes. So when they have their own genetic material and ribosome, they can regulate their function. So they are semi-autonomous cell organ, and they have upper epidermis and lower epidermis. Sorry, I should not say that. Upper, that is the outer membrane, and inner membrane. I got confused in the mesophyll cells. So we have the outer membrane and inner membrane. Next, inside the chloroplast, we have membrane bound structure. Inside the chloroplast, what we have? Membrane bound structures. So what we call this membrane bound structure means we call it as grana. We call it as grana. And these grana are connected to each other with the help of stroma lamellae. With the help of stroma lamellae. We call it as stroma lamellae. So we see membrane bound structure, that is grana and stroma lamellae, and within the chloroplast you can also find the fluid. We can also find the fluid stroma. We can also find the fluid stroma. So I will write here fluid stroma. So this membrane bound structure, that is grana and stroma lamella, are helpful for trapping the light and to make ATP and NADPH. So membrane bound structure are responsible for trapping the light and making the ATP and NADPH. ATP and NADPH. NADPH. So Na, we know full form of ATP, right? That is adenosine triphosphate, and NADP means nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, right? So in the presence of light, ATP and NADPH are made. That is the light driven reaction, whereas the fluid stroma which contain the enzyme, the most abundant protein present in the biosphere is rubisco. Rubisco is the most abundant protein, right? So this protein is helpful for the fixing carbon dioxide. This protein is helpful for fixing what? Carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide is fixed by the Rubisco enzyme, and this will be fixed inside the plant, and it will be liberated as a sugar, and this sugar will later be turned into starch. So inside the chloroplast we have starch, we have enzymes to fix the carbon dioxide, and we have membrane bound structure which trap the light, which can trap the light, and they can convert ADP into ATP, and this ATP will be utilized by these enzymes, and NAD is converted into NADPH, right? So the light driven reactions are making ATP and NADPH. So light independent reaction, here you can see the fluid stroma is a light independent reaction. Okay, it is a light independent reaction. That means it is not dependent on the light, but it is dependent on the products of the light. But it is dependent on the products of light. Products of light, what are? ATP and NADPH. So inside the chloroplast you can also find the lipid droplets. You can also find what? Lipid droplets, and we can also see the presence of ribosomes. We can also see the presence of ribosomes. However, it is not considered that this reaction, the fluid stroma reactions, whatever it is performed, that is not a dark reaction, and it is not a light driven reaction, but it is light independent reaction, and it is dependent on the products of the light. So this is how we will conclude. So most important diagram, that is the chloroplast present in the mesophyll cells in large number. I hope this video is helpful. We will come up with a next video. So how many pigments are present in the, means how many pigments are involved in the photosynthesis, that we are going to discuss in next video.